Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest problems that people ask me about. And I get this question probably at least once a week, where it's people saying that when they have a rifle and they try and hold angles, they almost always die. They very rarely win engagements when they're holding an angle. And the vast majority of the time, this problem seems to be tied to a very big misunderstanding in the way you should be playing angles with a rifle. Because generally, and this is not including ops, because ops you can hold angles like this, you don't want to be playing angles where the opponent expects you to be there. So if you're playing on top of van and the opponent expects you to be there, which generally they will when they're peeking through apps, they're going to peek right on you. The problem though is that they have 3 separate peeks they can make, and all 3 will generally end in you dying. They can shoulder peek out on you, which means there's very little of them that you can see, and actually I'm not sure which way it is, but your game sees out of one of the different eyes, which means if they peek out the correct direction, sometimes you can barely see their head. They can wide peek on you, which means you have to adjust your crosshair, or they can just wide peek without crouching, and you have to adjust your crosshair still. So if you're sitting in this angle right here on top of van and someone wide peeks you and crouches down, you have to adjust your crosshair to the left or to the left and down. If they if they wide peek you without crouching, you have to adjust it again to the left or to the left and up. That means not only do they have the advantage in that they have peeker's advantage, but also they'll be getting the first shot off every single time, and you have to adjust your crosshair and hope that they whiff on you rather than that you land a shot on them, because the only way you win that engagement is if they whiff and you land a nice shot. Now, as the ranges get longer, this becomes less and less important in my eyes, because it's much easier to mitigate that peeker's advantage from a range like this, or especially from a range like way back at Cat. However, this is still something you need to be thinking about. You should always be trying to play angles where you have an advantage in one way or another. And just to mention quickly, when I was saying people peeking out on you, I didn't even include the fact that they could be opping, which basically just means you're dead every time. So again, you want to be playing angles where they're not expecting you, or you have some sort of advantage in that only your head is showing, or you have an op, of course, or especially angles where they have to peek multiple areas at once. For example, this window here. They have to peek around bench, they peek around site, window, get right. There are so many angles they could be at any one point if you're a terrorist trying to clear this, that it's very easy when you're on CT to play one of those angles, and the majority of the time you'll find the pick. So doing that is one effective way to hold an angle. Another effective way is to just not be holding angles. You can play spots like, for example, on Cat here in the ladder room, and instead of holding an angle where a player might come up and peek out on you, you unpeek, wait a few seconds, and repeek. And by doing that, you're always giving yourself peeker's advantage, and you're putting them in a scenario where they might clear your spot, walk past, and then you peek out and you kill them when they're looking somewhere else. This is probably the most effective way to find yourself getting kills. You just unpeek, wait a few seconds, and then repeek, and you'll always have an advantage. And that's why sometimes when you see people make their way into a site on terrorist side, for example, they might be coming up catwalk here, they don't do what a lot of lower level players do, and that's peek out, look at an angle, and instantly move away. A lot of the time what they'll do is they'll peek out, look at the angle, hold it for a few seconds, and then start to move up, because they're waiting for a player to potentially be doing that. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.